Okay, so you want to solo queue in Rocket League. Firstly, why? And secondly, I'm guessing you're going to need some help with that. So this is my guide to solo queuing and my top 5 tips for solo queuing, and not just 2s, but 3s as well, for those of you who care about that. Now, quick disclaimer before the video starts. I'm not Squishy Muffins, I'm not Lethamere, I'm just a regular champ player, okay? So if you're looking for tips from the best player in the world, move on. However, I do like to think that I'm above average, so I can probably help you in this department. Now that's out of the way, let's move on to the top 5 tips for solo queuing. Learn to read teammates very quickly. Learning to read your teammates is an obvious one for solo queue, given that you don't have much time to learn your teammates and this game is pretty team oriented. Because of that, you need to know your teammates pretty well, and that means if you're solo queuing, you need to learn them really quickly. Now, since it's a top 5 tips video, I'm not just going to give you the tip because that's generic and boring, I'm going to explain to you how to do it. To read your teammate quickly is not as difficult as it sounds. You don't have to read them as well as if you were queuing with them, you just have to know them well enough to read their strengths and weaknesses. Whereas, if you're queuing with them, then you probably need to learn where they go for boost, among other more complicated things. But since you're solo queuing, then you need to know what they're bad at and a bit of what they're good at. If you know what they're bad at, you can cover for that. Reading them, however, comes with practice itself, but to read what they do in a specific situation is noticing every little minor detail. Noticing these minor details means looking at your teammate a lot and comparing them to your gameplay. This is a high level tip, because in lower ranks you'd be more focused on noticing your opponent's mistakes and capitalizing on them. However, at higher ranks that becomes pretty much second nature. So then you have to notice what your teammates are bad at. So this is a high level tip, but there are tips for lower ranks after this, so don't worry if you're in a lower rank. Now that I gave a little bit of brief description on how to read your teammates, let's get into what's good. Also, quick note, if you want me to go in more depth on that, I can make a video on it if you want, but let me know in the comments below, because I was very vague because that was what I was trying to be, it's a high level tip. It is very good because if you can see what they're good at, then you can cover for that. But what do I mean by cover for them? Well, let's give you a situation. Say you notice your teammate is awful at kickoffs, or has a very unpredictable kickoff that could go very wrong. What do? I'll give you 5 seconds and pause the video if you really want to. What you want is to stay back on kickoff. Make sure they don't score, because if this guy misses a kickoff, well, this tip can literally save you goals on your net. Just make sure that if your teammate is bad at something, don't get toxic at them in chat for it, just try and make sure they don't score because of what they're bad at. Be more passive. Okay, so I know that in my top 5 tips for 2v2s video, I said don't be scared, meaning don't be afraid to go for hard shots, and I still do stand by that, but I mean more passive, not just passive itself. Don't expect your teammates to be good enough to hit the ball. A lot of your teammates can't score an open net, so don't expect them to do passing plays unless you're in a really high rank. This tip is for lower ranks more, as if you're in silver, then you're going to need to be a lot more passive. Higher ranks should be less passive because they are more consistent at the things you call risky, and so are their teammates. But when in solo queue, you don't really know your teammates, so you can't guarantee that they're going to be good. In lower ranks, your teammates are almost never going to be good anyway. Don't use that as an excuse to why you can't climb though, because if they're bad, that means you are as well, given that you're same rank as them. Since your teammates are never going to be good in lower ranks, play more passive and more defensive, because that way, if a defensive mistake happens, then you know it's you, meaning you get less annoyed at the game. Also, that means you know someone's going to be back, and in lower ranks, there usually isn't. A lot of people in gold or below are bull chasers, so if you're back and they have so much practice attacking, you should probably win. How to be passive is pretty simple. Stay back as much as you can, don't ignore rotations obviously, but enough for your teammate to be up and stay up more than you. Stay behind the halfway line because no one is going to be able to pass in lower ranks, so there's no point helping them. Learn to clear properly. Okay, so by clearing, I mean proper clearing, not just hitting the ball a little bit away from the net. I mean a really good clear. But how do you actually clear properly? Well, it depends. Ground clearances are usually a very good opportunity to pass to your teammate, even if indirectly. Even in lower ranks, if they're up the field, then they're probably ball chasing, which means they're up the field. And if they're ball chasing, then they're going to follow the ball, and it'll be a good pass to a goal. So use your clearances properly, not just hitting it up as far as you can up the field, but I mean hitting it with purpose. Now, this means a lot of really good placement, which means some good mechanics. So if you're a mechanically intensive player, then this should be very easy for you. And if you're not very mechanically intensive as a player, then this will improve your mechanics, but also your game overall. even if your teammates aren't recognizing your pass, it's still probably closer to the net because you are aiming for something rather than just hitting it as hard as you can in any direction. Hitting it randomly will probably end up in the ball bouncing off the ceiling and really doing nothing for you, whereas even aiming it at your teammate's general direction will make it more precise and you are more likely to score. Again, as I said, it's a mechanically intensive tip, and for those of you with really good mechanics, it'll be really easy, but for those of you who have good game sense and not good mechanics, this could be pretty difficult. However, I still think with practice it's entirely possible to learn this, even for someone with just relies on game sense. Leave when you're not having fun or not playing well. I know this is a pretty general tip for all games and game modes, however, this has an extra layer when it comes to solo queuing. When solo queuing, you can very easily get terribly sad or annoyed, and when that happens...
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay, I know it's outdated, but it gets my point across, and I hate how my voice sounds, so the less I have to speak the better. But really, if you want to go up in the ranks, then you should stop playing. Even if you say, I'm going to do a marathon in Rocket League today and I'm going to grind to the next rank. Trust me, it doesn't go well enough. You might go back up again and you might go on a winning streak, but as soon as that streak ends and starts going downhill, that's when you want to take a break. Do some freestyling, get out of ranks for a little bit, play some casual, whatever you want to do. I tried to do what you do and I went from Champ 2 all the way down to Plat 2. So trust me, that one day lowered my rank too much for me to handle. Before you say I am back at Champ now, but yes, I dropped to Platinum because I got annoyed and triggered on a marathon. I mean, this is pretty obvious how to do it. You just stop clicking on competitive and click on something else. Done. This is one of the most important tips for gamers everywhere, not just in solo queue, but solo queuing it is the most important. Analyze your games. I know not everyone has recording software, and not many people like to make videos, although with how many YouTubers I meet in game, sometimes I do question that. But there is a replay system, and it's a very useful system. I think the term is, Foresight is 20/20 vision. It's probably a bit different, but I can't remember it right now. But do you get the idea? You will see a lot of your mistakes in your replays, so dedicate a couple hours or even half an hour or so to just looking at replays and saying, right, this is what I need to work on, so let's get some drills for a few minutes on that topic, and if you get good at this, eventually you will reach a higher rank in no time. Honestly, looking back at my gameplay has given me so many things to work on and so many ways to get better. Squishy himself has gotten good at it because he looks at his mistakes and irons them out. Even he said that. He talked about how looking over replays really helped him to grow in Rocket League. It will help you to grow too. I hope these tips have helped you get better at solo queuing, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If this helped you, liking the video is the way to show me that it helped you. So I really appreciate it. Leaving a comment is a really good way to contact me, so if you want to chat or leave feedback, give me a comment down below. And most likely I'll respond to it as quickly as I can. Whenever I'm not recording or editing, I'm usually looking at comments. Subscribing means you get every Monday, Wednesday and Friday a new tutorial video. I'm planning to start doing this week daily at some point if I can do that, because these are quicker than my normal videos to make. See you next time.